Michelle packs her things after a fight with her fiancé and leaves the engagement ring and keys on the table. She drives her car through a jungle and later stopping at a gas station. Suddenly, she notices a car which is following her for some time. Later, while on road, her fiancé calls her multiple times, but she doesn't answer him. She turns up the volume of radio. She listens a report about a large-scale power outage in cities. Suddenly, a car hits hers and her vehicle flips over and crashes onto the roadside. Then Michelle loses consciousness. Later, she wakes up in an unknown concrete room. An IV fluid is connected to her elbow and her leg is bandaged. Also, she is restrained with chains. Her stuffs are piled in corner. Using the IV stand, Michelle gets her phone, but there are no signals. Suddenly, she hears footsteps and a large man enters through door. He places a food tray in front of her. She pleads him to let him go and promises that she won't inform anyone. But the man says that he won't let her die, and after giving the key of shackles to her, he goes out. Michelle unlocks the restraints, gets dressed, and prepares a weapon using crutches to fight for her life. To lure the man, she lights a piece of clothing on fire and throws it in the ventilation duct. Due to this, the fire alarm sets off. She attacks when the man enters, but he injects her with a liquid and that causes her to pass out. When she regains consciousness, the man is sitting at bedside. He tells her that she is very lucky to be alive. She must have food and her medicines. Outside, humans have been attacked, but it's not clear that what kind of attack has happened. Currently, they are in bunker beneath his farm. He picked her after her crash as he didn't want her to die. She pleads on calling the police, but the man mentions that the outside world is dead. It will take years for the Earth to have breathable air again. The attack seems to be carried away by aliens, and humanity is finished as we have known. Michelle wants to contact her family, but the man insists that everyone outside the bunker and on surface are dead. As Michelle and the man are talking, they hear a very loud noise from the next room. The man leaves, leaving the door open, and scolds someone. Then he returns and angrily reminds her that she should be thankful to him as he saved her. Before he leaves, he says that he is Howard. Next morning, when Michelle wakes up due to an odd sound, she comes out of her room and goes to the source. She finds another young man sleeping in the hallway. He tries to convince her, but she says that she doesn't believe the lies said by Howard. But the man confirms that everything is as what Howard said. Later, Howard explains Michelle the layout of the bunker. Center is common area. A special system filters the air. There is a library, a TV, and many movies. Kitchen is well maintained along with stove, fridge, and silverware. Table is a family inheritance, but no one should access Howard's room. Michelle was forced to use toilet behind a curtain as Howard thinks that she might try something funny again, like starting a fire earlier. She should use water in limit. Later, Howard asks her to join them for lunch at table. Michelle founds a stack of women's magazines. Howard mentions that they belong to Megan, who is long dead. Suddenly, Michelle hears a loud noise outside. She thinks that it is a car passing by, but Howard convinces her that it is impossible. He is frustrated of explaining that no one else is alive. He recalls how everyone thought that he is foolish when he started building the bunker. He suggests Michelle to see for herself. He leads her to a staircase. At the top, Michelle looks outside from a small window in a door. At first glance, outside world looked unchanged, but she notices dead pigs with deep blisters in front of house. Howard mentions that those are his pigs. Suddenly, Michelle notices the car, which has been following her on the fateful night of her accident. Howard says that these doors are always locked and shows her the key. Later, Michelle and the other guy converse the situation. Guy mentions that the Howard has served in army. After discharge, Howard's bought the farm and hired him to help. Howard is fixated with alien abduction theories, which is why he built the bunker. Guy was not kidnapped, but he himself came to Howard's bunker hoping to take shelter. He also noticed that Howard invested all his money into the construction. Michelle then shares that it was Howard who pushed her off-road and brought her here. So everything he says about an invasion is fake. But the guy urges that she is wrong. He himself has seen the attack. There was flash, an explosion, and then sky turned red. He feels lucky to be in the bunker before Howard shut the door. Michelle tries to disprove the claims but suddenly realizes that Howard is standing behind them, listening their discussion. Howard calls them for dinner, mentioning that both have become good friends. During dinner, Guy mentioned about his unfulfilled dreams. He notices the Monopoly game and suggests that they can play the game. Howard starts getting irritated, and when Michelle touches Guy's shoulder, Howard shouts at her with anger. He yells that he expects respect from her as she is alive due to him. When Howard was distracted, she succeeds to take away the keys from his belt. Howard realizes that something is amiss. But by the time he realizes that the keys are gone and can react, a noise from outside the bunker distracts him. Suddenly, Michelle hits him on head with a glass and runs for the bunker exit. Guy shouts at her to stop, but Michelle succeeds to reach the door. She reaches the airlock just before Howard can stop her. Michelle notices a car coming toward the farm. She yells to get the driver's attention, but a woman suffering from deadly skin infection emerges and approaches the window in a hurry. She begs Michelle to let her into the bunker. Howard convinces the shocked Michelle not to open the door, mentioning that it's too late for her. Michelle realizes that certainly some sort of attack has really occurred. Michelle returns to the bunker. Later, Howard shares that he did cause Michelle's accident, but it was a mistake which saved her life. Howard gives some Megan's clothes to her and asks her to take bath. He mentions that he knows the infected woman. She was his former neighbor. Many people near the place knew about his bunker. Others might come as well. Howard requests Michelle to stitch up the wound she caused. He starts sharing old stories during his time in Navy. Mitchell starts putting bandages on Howard's wound as he continues to speak. Later, he praises her for her help. Sometime later, he gives her stuffs from the car in a box and asks her to share her life. Michelle shares that she wanted to become a fashion designer. Howard too shares about his daughter. She too wanted to be an artist. He shows a picture of a young girl, Megan. He mourns that after his divorce, his wife turned her against him and took Megan to Chicago. Howard shows frustration that people are very careless about their safety, but at least he tried to save them. Later, the guy talks with Michelle, saying that it was not possible to save the woman. Even if she had allowed the woman inside, she would have died later. They recall about their earlier life. The guy shared that he was awarded a scholarship to a polytechnic school, but he was too scared to leave the place. Michelle too shares that she had a bad relation with her father and never bothered to make amends. The guy says her that in spite of everything, they still continue to live on, and so they must be lucky. In coming days, all three of them begin to mingle better. They play board games with each other, prepare and shares meals, and start adjusting in their new daily routine. One day, they hear a loud noise from the above surface. Howard thinks that even if it's army, it's surely not from Earth. The lights they saw earlier were just the initial stage. In second stage, alien army will clear out the territories left on Earth. Suddenly, air filter system malfunctions. Howard requests Michelle to crawl through the ventilation vents to restart the system, as only she can fit in the vents due to her smaller shape. She agrees to it. She enters the vents and starts crawling. Finally, she finds the filtration system and was able to restart it. While she was looking around, she finds a window where a disturbing message was etched with fingernails on the glass that reads "Help." She also found a bloody earring, and those looks very similar to the one Megan was wearing in the photo, Howard shared. The shocked Michelle tells this to the guy. She suspects that Howard might have done something to Megan. While checking closely, Guy identifies that the girl in the photo is not Megan, but Brittany, a classmate of his sister, who disappeared years ago. Suddenly, another photo drops from a book, showing Howard and Brittany. Megan wore the same clothes and photo that Michelle currently is wearing and standing in the bunker. Realizing the present danger, Michelle and the guy agrees to make an escape plan. They quietly start gathering materials. Michelle makes a temporary biohazard suit from a shower curtain, and the guy makes a homemade gas mask. They plan to take the gun from Howard, then tie him up, and then one of them will go outside for help. One day, while playing a game of charades, their secret is almost caught when Howard realizes that something is wrong. After a few days, Howard invites them to a room and shows them a drum of hydrochloric acid, which he uses for waste disposal. He then goes on to accuse them of plotting against him. He found the tools they hid for their escape. As angry Howard melts the tools in acid, Michelle and the guy are scared. In order to protect Michelle, the guy confesses that he acted alone and was using the tools for past few days to try and make a weapon. Howard acts as accepting his apology, but then suddenly shoots and finishes him. Heartbroken and shocked, Michelle watches as Howard quietly promises her that now, no one will bother them. He starts sharing ice cream with her and plans about how can they live a long and happy life together for the rest of their life. Determined to escape, Michelle speeds up to complete her biohazard suit while grieving about the guy. But one night, Howard notices the suit hidden below her bed. Michelle succeeds to slip past him, but Howard catches her and scolds her for showing disrespect. Distressed, Michelle knocks over the acid barrel onto Howard, resulting in fire breakout inside the bunker. She grabs her biohazard suit as the seriously injured Howard tries to harm her, but she traps him under a big shelf and escapes towards vent. By now, the fire has spread in bunker. With the flame spreading, Michelle crawls through the ventilation shaft, while surviving the Howard's attempt to stab her. Through the pipes, she reaches the air filtration room and quickly wears her suit. Then using a can of nitrogen, she freezes and breaks the lock of outer window, and finally escapes the bunker. Outside, Michelle runs toward a car but damages her suit in hurry. Scared, she closes the rip with the duct tape from inside the vehicle. She was about to rest, but then she notices a flock of birds flying in sky. Concluding that the air is not toxic, she removes the gas mask. But before she can relax, she notices an alien spaceship flying in the distance, moving like a living being. As Michelle watches in shock, the bunker explodes behind her. This draws the attention of the alien ship. She anxiously looks for the car keys but couldn't find them. She escapes to the car of the woman who tried to enter bunker earlier, but suddenly the car alarm activates, alerting the ship. Scared, Michelle hides in a nearby garage, where she finds the body of the infected woman. Michelle searches her body and finds the car keys. As the alien being starts searching the shed, trying to enter through the animal door, taking advantage of its distraction, Michelle quickly runs towards Howard's house. But as she reaches there, the alien ship flies overhead and releases a poisonous gas. Michelle swiftly puts her gas mask and survives the chemical attack. She hides in the car, but the alien starts searching the vehicle, trying to unlock it. When it becomes clear that the car is too tough to breach, the alien ship picks the vehicle into the air. Inside the car, Michelle finds a bottle of flammable liquid and a lighter. She quickly makes a Molotov cocktail and throws it into the alien ship's entrance-like opening. Resulting explosion damages the ship, and the car crashes to the ground. Michelle survives the crash. She climbs out of the vehicle and drives away in the woman's car. While driving, she switches on the radio and listens the news reports of victories of humans over aliens. There are instructions for survivors to be safe and an invitation for those with combat or medical training to move to Houston. As Michelle stops to grasp the full message, she sees the sign directing towards Houston. She goes to that direction, resolute to help. Suddenly, light flashes in sky and gives a glimpse of a bigger ship flying in the sky. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.